Suprema roll call. Suprema roll call. Suprema roll call. Suprema roll call.
My name is Questlove, and I don't flake.
Yeah.
In ATL.
Yeah.
Ha!
Break. Suprema roll call. Suprema roll call.
My name is Fonte,
Yeah.
and I'ma speak my clout.
Yeah.
Organized taught me
Yeah.
pre-trial to get you out.
Suprema roll call. Suprema roll call.
My name is Sugar,
Yeah.
and I apologize.
Yeah.
This may get noisy
Yeah.
and unorganized.
Damn right.
Suprema roll call. Suprema roll call.
It's Laia,
Yeah.
and I'm overjoyed.
Yeah.
It's like I'm back in college again.
Yeah.
Yo, organized noise!
Roll call. Suprema roll call. Suprema roll call.
Okay, I'm Rico,
Yeah.
and I'm part one third.
Yeah. Roll call.
Okay.
Suprema roll call.
Slow it down.
Suprema roll call.
Well, this is Yoda,
Yeah.
and you know I hold it down.
Yeah.
Organized Noize,
Yeah.
we all in town.
Roll call. Suprema roll call. Suprema roll call.
My name is Sleepy,
Yeah.
and I'm the smoothest.
Yeah.
You'll never find another mother that could do this. Oh, shit.
Suprema. Suprema. My mind's like, what rhymes with that?
Suprema roll call. Suprema roll call. Break.
All right.
That was funny, Amir.
Where's my manager?
Nah, man, you see, yeah, he was like, you didn't sign up for this. You did not sign up for this.
I'm like, boy, you did not do a good job. I was like,
You good, bro. You made enough classics to sustain.
oh no, my part is gonna reason why it's gonna go viral.
Well, that's a good thing in
Instead of a
2022.
sensation.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Questlove Supreme ATL edition. We are in Atlanta talking to a lot of the greats. Hope you've been enjoying it so far. What can I say, ladies and gentlemen? We are here with three gentlemen who have built a movement, a sound, a way of life, literally putting not even a section of the, because that's just very reductive, but I mean they literally changed the scope of music as we know it, and of creativity as we know it. You know, some of the blackest shit ever, some of the most Afrofuturist shit ever. Taking, that whole kind of what you would call legacy from George Schuyler all the way down to Sun Ra, down to P-Funk, and when the baton came in their hands, they created magic. Simply put, I'll say one of the most respected, and in some producers' eyes, most feared
Facts.
men. Dog.
Facts.
Yeah. I won't even talk about us, like, listening to a new album, like, they did what? Nigga, when I heard mainstream, I wanted to jump out the window.
Listen,
What the fuck?
Y'all
I've
know what it is? Like, you Kevin get loop in the vibes. Like,
literally, yeah. I've never had a production collective that just makes me like, damn, why don't I think of that shit? Seriously. This is long time overdue, and you know all the classic LPs they've been involved in that they had their hands in, from all the entire like OutKast canon, Goodie Mob canon, Parental Advisory, Slim Cutter Calhoun, Joy. I'm
En Vogue.
oh God,
Yeah.
don't like.
Yeah, it was
Oh
on
my
the. Yeah.
God,
En Vogue,
I
yeah.
totally forgot
En Vogue.
the last awesome
Yeah.
Great. En Vogue
Curtis
song.
Mayfield.
And Janelle Monáe.
Yes.
Yes. The names go on. Dude, on the real, I don't know if Crazy Sexy Cool would have been what it was
Word.
without
Yeah,
a
right,
little
yeah,
song
right,
called
Waterfalls.
Waterfalls.
True that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
True that.
it's actually happening. We've been talking about this forever. Welcome, Rico Wade, Ray Murray, and the one and only, I cannot believe, Sleepy Brown is on Questlove Supreme, Organized Noize. Thank you.
Man.
Need my fans. Too much good music right in one place.
So this is rare for us because, like, I prefer one-on-one shows where we get to grill people. Like Steve joked that this looked like peace negotiations happening right now.
does.
Like what you
the
did versus, like,
configuration.
I feel like it's beef between Sleepy and Sugar Steve over here.
I want to renegotiate my contract,
Right.
Sleepy.
Yeah, no, but this will be really interesting. And as I said, we're in Atlanta right now, and I'm hoping to get all the education and all the questions I want to answer about just the sound that you guys have crafted for the last 30 years, damn near. So I guess I'll start. Well, look, I know your lineage runs deep. I know all your lineage runs deep, but especially Sleepy being the son of the legendary Jimmy Brown of Brick. I'll start with you. Can you tell me what your first musical memory was?
Wow. I was 6 years old,
Right.
and it was my first concert I went to. And I was with my grandparents, and we get to the concert and walk on the side of the stage, and my dad and them start performing. And when I seen them do Daz,
Right.
my mouth dropped, and I looked back at my grandmama, and I said, this is what I want to do.
Wow.
Period. I knew I wanted to do music. As soon as I saw my dad up there playing them horns and everybody screaming and going crazy, I was just like, I gotta do this. This is what I have to do. And plus, you know, my mom would buy me Jackson 5 albums every Christmas.
Right.
You know, so I was like the sixth Jackson. Plus I was in Break
Right.
and Commodores, and I was in everybody's group. So my first experience of music was the greatest era of music to me, was the funk era and the disco era. No music has been made more beautiful than that. So that's my whole being, you know what I mean? No matter what, that's why they call me Funkanite, because if it ain't funky, I ain't doing it.
All right. I funks with that.
Yes, sir.
Wait, now, eschewing Daz and Duzik and Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody, the Captain Obvious Brick, do you have a favorite Brick song that isn't a hit or anything?
Yeah.
Fun.
Yep. Fun was one of them. Happy.
You know what I was gonna say? Damn, I always say, but I've already confessed that I'm kind of working on Soul Train.
Yeah.
Right. I always like preface with like, I'm not supposed to say this, but no. I'm getting to the 77 episodes. And I gotta say, your dad was a charismatic motherfucker.
Oh.
Even when performing Happy on Soul Train, like
My dad always had the biggest smile. It's like when you
Yes.
saw him perform, he was just excited and happy to perform for people. And he's always been that way. When he was younger, he had a band in Savannah that did a couple of records, Jimmy and the Mighty Sensations, that did pretty good.
Right.
So he's always loved music till this day. You know what I mean? I'm working on the album right now with him. We're doing like an instrumental.
Word?
Yeah, instrumental jazz soul
You still
funk
playing
album.
flute?
Man, he played flute,
He plays flute.
saxophone,
All instruments. He
trombone, alto sax.
Wow.
Every horn you can put in front of him and kill it.
Living from the Mind was also one of my favorites.
Yes, sir.
That bass
Oh,
line killed me.
And Somerset, Somerset. My fault, right? Somerset. Is that the name of it?
Is that on the white album cover with
Yeah, we're just on that album.
Yeah, I know that joint. Wait,
Somerset, something like that.
Rick
I can't remember
Trivia.
right now.
have you heard this tidbit about Prince? Do you know the story? So Prince was such a fan of Brick.
What?
Do you know that he wrote "Get It Up" for the time? He wrote that for Brick, and they rejected it.
Wow.
We interviewed Morris.
Wait a minute.
I'll-
Time out, man. Hold on.
I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you.
What?
I'll do it for you. Sound effects on. Yes. Morris and we've had damn near every member of the Time On except for Terry Lewis.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we asked Mars about him and Prince crafting the first record, and you know, he told us that he's playing drums on everything. He was like, when we made Get It Up, for some reason, like Prince was really into. Not for some reason. I mean, everybody was into it, but
That's it, man. You just blew me away, bro.
Prince
like,
had wrote
what?
"Get It Up" for Brick.
For Brick.
To be whatever the album is with the green, where it's like
I know what you're
it's like
talking
the
about.
green leaves.
Yeah.
For that album, they rejected it. You gotta talk to your dad about that.
Man, I'm gonna call him soon. What you doing? What?
Yeah, man.
Are you tripping?
There you go.
That's crazy.
All right, so Ray, what is your first musical memory?
First musical memory. I'm old as hell, so we're gonna go back to. I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay. All right. Me and my brother and sister used to turn the lights off and dance around to Flight Time by Donald Byrd.
Yes, sir.
That's
The airplane landing. We used to just
Nas, New York State of Mind.
So early on, I kind of like, my father's a jazz head, so he had all of this music, which was like everything that we ever heard in hip hop. You feel me? All of the shit that Cat sampled, that's the shit that I grew up with.
Right.
Playing in the house. Yeah.
All three of you born in Atlanta?
I was born in Savannah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Atlanta.
And you? Where were you born?
Uh-oh.
Brooklyn? No. Well, wait. I'm about to say, you got heavy swag on, so I know it's.
It might
where you
be.
born? Where you born?
I was born in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yo! All right, Yins. Yes. My mom's from Pittsburgh.
But I grew up before we came to Atlanta. We came to Atlanta with Maynard Jackson. When he took over the city, when he became the first black mayor, my father and mother were in Tuskegee, Alabama. So
Oh man.
I grew up in Tuskegee, pretty much
Right.
Alabama.
Okay.
That's what's up.
I got roots there too. Shout out to Mobile. Not Tuskegee, but Mobile. All right, for you, Rico, what's your first musical memory?
Oh man, even with listening to their memories, mine is as simple as
Hey, that's good.
No, it's as simple as hearing music on the radio. Cause you know what I'm saying, we didn't have a car when I was younger, so I didn't really hear the radio until like mom was cleaning up or something, or when I finally just went into that back room. We had an extra room, and I just kind of went to digging.
The guest room.
Yes, the guest room.
And also the room where
the third bedroom.
all the junk sits in the
I
boxes.
ended up finding more than records back there one day. Like, but the records.
Roaches.
No,
Or
money.
Playboys.
Oh,
Money.
okay.
Money.
Better.
Money
Better than a bunch of
stashed
roaches.
away. Back there.
What you was talking about?
Yes, money. But like Donna Summer and like the Ring My Bell and all that kind of stuff with some of the records, and Isley Brothers.
Anita.
Yeah, I was seeing that stuff as records, but on the radio when it was just the energy of how she would be a different person. When the music came on and she turned up loud and she cleaning up. So people always made that. I always say, I like to play my music when I'm cleaning up. I really understood what that meant. It's like I feel good today. I mean, today this is what I'm doing. I need to feel good.
Right.
I need to feel good while I'm getting this done.
Yeah. So my examples of music, and another one at a young age was my first little job when I was like 10 years old, just unloading the back of a truck or whatever. They used to play the radio, and I just remember that made it go by. So for music was always I didn't never think I could necessarily be able to make it. Didn't never think I would be a part of the business, but I knew how important it was. Wow. How much it did for me just at that young age, and didn't even know who, didn't know exactly who none of the artists was. Just knew that at that time, being a man of my age, which is 50,
Yes, sir.
during that time, like 1980, I was 8.
Yeah.
So like what he's talking about, like soaking up at the right time. It's the end of the 70s, but they still on it as far as the albums. I can still see albums. I still saw 8-tracks. You know what I'm saying? I still wrote in cars when we did
8-tracks, yeah.
that actually had an 8-track in it. So
I still collect them.
wow. But your knowledge of a Brick is amazing.
That's amazing, bro.
Nah,
I still
because-
feel like, wow.
Because even when I found out who his father was or whatever, you just thought about that's Ice Cube song.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Vaseline.
That's the
Man,
song that Ice
yes.
Cube got back, and that was deep.
I was so happy when they did.
He did.
That,
I was
Yeah,
like,
I was like, how
I
did you
was like,
feel
he-
about No Vaseline?
How'd you feel about
Took
Glitter?
up your cool
I
factor.
thought-
It must
man,
be.
yes,
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean,
yeah.
honest with you, like a lot of. I'm sorry, Reek.
No.
A lot of other artists had sampled before that. You know, Kid and Play did "Ain't Gonna Hurt Nobody." You know, Hammer did.
He
one
did.
of them.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
yeah, all good. So,
Music.
but when I heard Q on one of the coldest diss records of
Ever.
Yeah.
all
Ever.
time, bro, my heart was. I just was like, yeah,
That's
that's
my,
my
daddy.
daddy record.
Yes.
That's my daddy record.
I want my daddy record back.
So I was, man, that's still one of my favorite. Man, I still play that record and act like I'm in the mirror and I'm cute. And man, let me shut up.
So
Nope.
What am I doing?
So
I'm in the mirror.
So I have a lot of musician friends that are in Atlanta. Like Lil John Roberts used to live down there. He's from
Right.
Philly.
Yeah.
Came down. However, there were 4 musician friends of mine that gave me a theory on how they got so advanced in their musicianship. Now, you mentioned you being 50, that you were 8 back then. And I know that one of the most crucial points in the timeline in a black person's life in Atlanta history, of course, and if you're 8 years old, were the Atlanta murders.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And what my friends told me was like basically because their parents were strict, like, yo, you ain't going outside, you know, I'll pick you up for school, you stay in the house. And because of that specific late 60s, early 70s generation told to stay in the house, they just got more advanced in their music. How can you explain to us like how that period affected you guys? Like, were you fully aware that many young black kids were getting kidnapped and all those things, and like were your parents like, no, you know, like
It was prime time for us, and the fact that I lived in apartments with a single parent mom, she went and she worked, so it was latchkey kid.
right?
So then I had 2 little sisters, like 6 and 5 years younger. Like so it was like,
And you had to watch.
yeah, and I had to watch them. So it was almost like I was trained. I was raw. Mom had got me ready. The knife behind here, the whoop over here, like the pistol over on top of the closet. Yeah, like everything was. She treated me as a young adult because she was like, I mean, I don't want them white folks doing it.
Right.
So she was scared. So she was like, "You can't outrun them, Rico. Stop thinking that. Oh, ain't gonna get me.
That's how the
I'm
kid.
too fast. I'm too fast, ma. I promise you, police can't get me, ma. I'm jumping fences, one leap, whoop. Like she said, nope. It's white people. She said, and they just trying to get rid of all y'all. They trying to just scoop them up, and she just made me believe that it was something that it actually necessarily was, but it wasn't, because it was a lot going on in Atlanta. It was the video games that just touched down. So that's why when I discovered them dollar pieces in that back room,
Pac-Man.
she wanted to just go hit the arcade. And we had an arcade downtown Atlanta at the Omni. We had an arcade at it's like the arcade is where you first start meeting the people,
Everybody.
the people who do music, the people who
Everybody.
eventually was gonna be the people, the dancers, the people who loved New York and knew that we would get shunned for acting that way, but people still would do it, almost to the point where like, I want to be different. You know what I'm saying? Didn't know that you don't necessarily want to be copying somebody else, but that's different.
You had some dudes that would straight lie to you and be like,
and lie and tell you
I'm
they
from
was from
Bronx. And you'd be like, bruh.
So
I know you, bro.
As far as the child murders, we community centers. So like people got a chance to do a Boy Scout. They was trying to get you to do summer camps.
Yeah, summer camp.
They had, the city had put a whole thing together to where they was giving out T-shirts. I remember these classic T-shirts would say 80, 81, 82,
Yep.
and then it kind of let you know that my mama care about me because she made sure I went to the camp.
Right.
Kids who don't go to camp be like, man, this shit, excuse me, this is free.
No, it's church. You go in.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is free.
shit.
This is free, and so like it just seemed like, and those people was also bringing it to you too as well, as far as making sure that you know, be with a friend, stop trying to do stuff by yourself. So that little fear was kind of how you should have felt as a young adult anyway. But the city was so active about it or whatever, as far as no trick or treat, no trick or treating. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
and it eventually grew into y'all can go to the mall and do it. But really, it was like when you get home at 3:30 or whatever, go in the house. 4 o'clock, like it was a curfew.
How long did this
And
last?
it wasn't apparent. It was like
80, 81.
at
Damn.
least two
That's-
years.
That's a
3
long
years.
time in
Four
kids'
summers.
years.
Yeah.
That's a long
79.
time.
Starting, yeah, because he had
79.
numbers.
Yeah,
It was like 40.
79 was when we first started this shit, and then 80 was the second year.
Yeah.
That's when everything got like,
A little
this
bit
is
tighter.
what we doing.
That's when I started recognizing.
81,
81. It
82.
was like I ain't.
81 it
maybe-
became news in Philadelphia.
I wasn't even
81,
tripping
yeah.
about it then. By that point, it was like
You
it was
trained.
more. It was more like we trained.
Yeah.
We was trained then or whatever. Like, but I do remember saying like damn, we don't get the free candy. That used to be a cool.
Right.
Like Halloween used to be cool because everybody show up at school. And
Yeah.
we used to have even the little Halloween. Then they started doing little carnivals at the school. The community kicked in. I got to say that like, and watching the special that HBO did or whatever, like it was most definitely informative. It most definitely enlightened me on a lot of things that I thought was going on, and it kind of like brought validity to what I knew what was happening, but I knew it wasn't just that because a culture of because Atlanta's a melting pot. You know what I'm saying? Like you got San Francisco, but we had gay laws put in place when I was younger as well because of disrespect. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody just want to be because of racism, because we've handled racism in a great way. We was on top of that before it became a worldwide thing or whatever, as far as dealing with, different people of.
That's dope because that explains why Atlanta is such a mecca for that community as well.
Yeah, because
America's democracy lies in the hands of Atlanta. Like,
the way they,
or Georgia, period.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So with this, all those things are because of Wayne Williams. Even though
Do you,
shout
in
outs,
your,
not
do you
shout out,
in your heart of hearts, feel that it was
Don't
just
shout
him?
Right.
No.
I didn't
no.
say that.
I definitely think.
My dad and me, like that's the number one conspiracy theory.
Yes,
I'm
it's
so
always
glad
been
you
kinda-
said Wayne Williams because I still say in my mind
He didn't do it.
Walter Clyde Orange of the Commodores. And I hate.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, he did kind of
He
look
did
like,
Like yeah.
kind of
Well, he
did.
had those glasses that whatever, but I never truly felt that it was
Oh Wayne,
him, especially with what's happening now, so
Right.
unhinged.
Yeah.
right? I always felt like it was something else and some other people.
Yeah, I think
Definitely
HBO
that.
did a
A lot
great
of
job.
people.
It was a
Yeah.
collective. It was a collective. I think people took advantage of our
They took
opportunity.
advantage of the
It was like
opportunity
it
to
was
do that.
happening or whatever, and that's why the things
Up
that
the numbers.
yes, and the things that I'm telling you, all the stuff that was reinforced, is the reason why we didn't lose more because it was 32 kids. It was 32. It was like 31, 32 kids. It was like, I mean,
Well, technically,
it was more than that.
it has never stopped.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah.
Word.
Yes.
That's a whole nother
mean,
story.
I mean, Atlanta's the center for sex trafficking.
Yep.
So it technically has never stopped. You just don't hear about it
Right.
being associated with Wayne Williams. But abducted, missing, that hasn't changed.
At all.
Yeah, but now though, with the fact that you have people illegal, like when I was younger, Buford Highway, it was like it was Spanish a little bit, but now like we have completely Atlanta is not just a mecca for black people. It's Latinos, it's Asians. We have everybody here working not necessarily working together, but been living together for long enough to where now they know each other.
Yeah.
Everybody cool.
It's been a good decade for your like diversifying gentrification. Right?
But back to your question. Your question, you said something about did
that affect you in your
yeah,
creativity?
nah, it's the neglect that made Atlanta artists perfect their crafts
Yep.
Yes.
and talent shows,
Yeah.
and high school events. You feel me? Because there was no outlet. So
All we
you
had
a-
was Itchy Boy.
yeah, you had a bunch of high talent
Terrible.
competing against itself without any kind of visualization in terms of everybody else.
So that said, what is your version of? Okay, like I know the history of the Bronx and the Cold Crush Brothers and da 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 da. So what is Atlanta's first generation hip hop history?
Shadi.
Sadi, Raheem the Dream.
But I'm
All
saying-
independent.
But I'm gonna say this though. I'm gonna say this.
Okay.
SOS band or like what's the group Brick? How you talking about Brick? Atlanta had a band culture in the 70s.
Yes, Camilton Road was.
So when the drum machine started kicking in, that's why they might have turned down the Prince song if he had drum beats in it, because they was such a live, just like how the Roots was early on. Like it's such a live thing. That was what made the package. That they like with that, Brick had a studio. 25, 60.
Yep.
A lot of studios that was in Atlanta, like when the place they used was either a church or an old musician from a band group from Atlanta who left something there. So that was like, for me, like to me, that's where the musicianship started at. But as far as when the drum machines, like how Ray was saying, the talent shows, it was almost like we couldn't necessarily do music. We didn't have the culture that Crush brewed, like or whatever. Like we had Shadi, you got Raheem the Dream, you got these groups, these artists that are coming out, but really they are somewhat emulating what we love about New York, but doing
Absolutely.
it down south style.
Yep.
So, but the fact that like the DJing, the fact that we took on the other aspects of it, it was like our movement was why I guess we got culture. It's like we was into the style. Like you would see people dressed like the fat laces shoelace. I mean the Adidas, the shoelaces.
Yeah.
We literally mimicked a New York culture and the Miami culture, like from gold teeth to the big earrings. It's really what you see and what you want to see or whatever. So like for me, our most original stuff was us being, having a original style of dance or a dress coming up with our crazy hair where we was wearing perms and finger waves. This shit was really country and turned up.
Right.
Yeah,
Like-
we
like-
turned
Well, we
up.
was doing that too, yeah. We was doing that.
Up
Finger
north,
waves?
yeah.
Not the dudes, but yeah, the girls were definitely doing all that
Oh yeah, the
stuff.
dudes.
No,
the
dudes.
Dudes.
Oh,
Yeah,
It was the dudes.
Dudes.
Yeah.
No,
It's
but
real player
Rodney
shit.
and Joe
We all
Cool.
had, well, Ray
Rodney
did.
and Joe Cool.
Ray never did, but me and
They
Rico
were
had
the West
Real
Coast.
player shit.
Oh.
You gotta dig.
Yeah, we had finger waves.
Yeah,
Straight
that's
Atlanta.
me. Dry fast.
yo, so it sounds like
Dry fast way.
Yo, Amir, the answer to
Dry
your
fast comb
question
through.
is them.
Shouts out Lamonte's Beauty
Oh
Supply.
no, they definitely like.
It's
and
y'all.
Jermaine also
It's part of
credited-
it. Part of
Jermaine
it.
said that he had to go to New York
Part of it. Yeah.
and live in
Right.
New York and kind of bring it back. And even with like Chris Cross's first record, like
No.
half those breakbeats came from literally from like
You know what?
That's
Joe
Rough
Nicola
House.
hates when I
Rough-
say
Rough-
this,
that's what I
but
say, Rough-
whenever like Muggs would leave the studio after working on Cypress Hill and like the sounds would still be in there, which is why like the midnight theme loop is in Jump. Like cat,
You telling too much.
No, he not. No, he not.
Oh,
No, he
we're
not.
nerds.
No, he not.
But you know
Telling
what?
too
You know
much.
what?
No, he not. No, he not. He not telling too much at all. Because that really makes
The most sense.
Yeah, because we three. It's three of us. So it's not just Ray. It's not just me. And it's like we all have a certain amount of history in the way we dig, because we dig. Like, and we gonna spend as much time as you want talking about. We
go.
we went into New York. We flew. Me and Ray used to fly to New York. Like when we got big royalty checks or something. And so instead of going to the mall, instead of going to buy all the new designer stuff, we'll go to New York, get hotel rooms,
Bleecker Street.
eat Ray's pizza, and go to all the Jewish little stores and buy up everybody.
All
else.
the vinyl.
We got some what he said that day. Oh, I got some not Pete Rock. What name he said?
He said,
No, he said
Q-tip. It was, but it was more than Q-tip. He said, oh yeah, I was holding these Q-tips.
And
I
main
Ali.
source.
It was Ali.
Large
so,
professor.
so you would go to record conventions.
Well, we
and-
found them. See, but our discovery of New York as a source
right.
was only because we had like pilfered Atlanta
Yeah.
and the South.
Yeah.
Because everybody got a record collection.
I was about to say the best records I ever found were below the Mason-Dixon line.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But when we first started, I'm talking about 45s. I'm talking about
Right.
Carmine and Bleak. I'm talking about this dude. He went in the back. He already identified where the breaks came in at. He had already, because all he does was, old man sitting around, he said, those are spots he would hit it. He'd be like, yeah. So he didn't know what kind of money we had. He's like, yeah, I charge like 40 or 50 for these. I was like, cool. How many you got? We go there. We dropping bags, thousands of dollars, and each time we got a break, we like, that's an original. One thing about hip hop, originality is the most important thing because it inspires and motivates.
Don't
So
bite
if
nobody's
it's-
shit.
Yeah, so if you come up with something, even if you didn't do it the best, you just presented it to the world. So somebody else is gonna rip it another day or whatever. But right in these first little 18 months, they can't come behind you with it. It's got to be your lane only right now. So as many breaks as we had, it was up to just making records that coincided or whatever.
Right.
But that was our lifeline. Once we made it into the music industry, we felt like as long as we were digging, we were reading books and we were learning. And that's what New York had forgot for a little while. They got caught up into the
Fucking real.
You know what I'm saying? They done out, and that's why the South got in there because we didn't. It looked like they let us in with Master P and Cash Money. It was like that's because they fucked up and didn't fuck with us early on.
Yeah.
But when we they brother. That's why it's called the East Coast because Atlanta's on the East Coast.
Yeah.
DC's on the East Coast. It's like all these places a reminiscent of hip hop, even though we give all the credit to Bronx, give all the credit to New York, Brooklyn, because it's deservingly so. Like we always looked at New York as the father and Los Angeles as the mother, and we were the child that came from it. That's why he said from neglect. Right. That's where Atlanta came from. In fact, that neglect was enough to try to figure it out on your own.
Now, coming up in the South, like I tell people all the time, like we had to study everything.
Yes.
So it's like, it wasn't just if you came up in New York, you might have knew what was going on if you lived in Brooklyn, or you might have knew who the hot dude was over here. But in the South, we had to know everything. You had to know, all right, this is New York, this is the Midwest, this is Texas, this is Houston. Like, you know what I mean? And it always made for me, it just gave me a greater vocabulary. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And, you know what I mean? Just of knowing everything, because you had to know it.
Yeah.
So, first of all, how did you three meet?
We met very, very music is why we met. Music is how we met.
Yeah, it was this girl I was dating at the time. Her name Cookie. She knew Rico, and she knew T-Bars very well.
Okay.
So
and she wasn't T-Bars then. She was Tion.
yeah, she was Tion.
Right.
So I was in a dance group in all the high schools, so that was kind of like the bomb. We used to go around, girls just scream all this stuff. So
Facts.
So
Guess.
Cookie told me. Now I don't know how true this is, but Cookie told me that Tion wanted me to meet Rico, and Rico wanted to meet me. So I was like, cool. So me and Cookie go over to Tion's house, which is in East Point. Walk up to his job, Lamonte's.
The beauty supply store.
Beauty supply
where
store.
OutKast came and met me at.
And then I walk in, you know what I'm saying? Cookie like, yo, Rico, this Pat. And he was like, so? He kind of dissed me. I'm standing like,
You got to explain that. You got to explain that. You got to explain what the move was.
I did a dance. It's like a roof.
Look. It was a dance that we used to do, like Smurf and stuff, right?
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And time so, and when you end it, you hit your leg a roof.
Oh, right. Okay.
So the whole time she telling me he want to meet me, when I meet him, he dissed the shit out of me. I'm like,
That's a challenge.
Oh, he tried to fleece you.
yeah. But I'm standing there, but I started laughing because I was like, it was funny to me. I was like, man, this dude crazy.
But it was.
So
Go ahead.
anyway, so we meet or whatever. I'm gonna tell this other part. So we meet or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, Rick, well, he said we'll hang out someday, whatever, blah blah blah. So I walk back down with my girl Cookie and Tion, which they started fussing. Mm-hmm. We get around the corner, they in an all-out brawl in the middle of the street.
Oh shit.
Oh, wow.
Who winning? I'm sorry. No, that was.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. She
seemed like she could.
Tion,
Yeah.
she might have been a little.
Yeah.
But that's a little feisty.
Oh, I can see that. Yeah.
Because she threw the first blow. Boom! Took off running. And Cookie went behind her, because Cookie was hood as shit.
Yeah. Red
Shout
out
out
to Red
super
Oak.
ratchet.
Divine
no joke.
Stevens.
But anyway, they get to fighting. I'm in the middle of trying to break it up. Cars riding by. So they fuss at each other and walk their separate ways, and I'm just standing there. I'm like, okay. So
Walk back up to the store.
Rico.
Hey, Rick, they just got into a fight.
They got into a fight, bro.
And just to go back, when he
It's a crazy way to meet your future.
right?
Straight up.
No, but because like he said, I already knew who he was. Because to be honest, he was a legend. Like as far as didn't look like it. As far as because he had a little Smurf. I mean,
Swoop.
Papa
A
did
Gumby?
swoop,
Oh,
or whatever.
Swoop
But
Gumby like this.
and he was kind of like a little, not chubby, but just the way he was.
Big bone.
But
Big
the,
body.
but the boy could move. Did I say the boy could move? The boy was in the number one best group in Atlanta at that time, or whatever. And I had just was taking dance lessons from a member of that group.
Oh, okay.
Somebody who was in that group, but they put him out. They put him out because he was he doing too much. But he taught me how to dance, but I knew I was never gonna be them. So when I saw him that day, it was more like, so like I
I could dance too.
so
I could dance too.
but from that day, he like I said, he laughed or whatever, but he did see the fact that I had a job and I was doing stuff.
Yeah, straight
so
hustle.
so he was like he was tired of dancing. I had just learned how. He was
wow.
2-3 year legend already. He was ready for music then. He was already starting to do 4-track and demos, and I'm just looking like, what's that?
Yeah.
You
I had a task scale 4-track.
yeah, you doing
A task
Elisa's drum machine.
So when we talk about your first experience with music, never thought this would happen. Never thought I would meet somebody that actually made music. He was showing me. So now I'm getting money. I'm doing stuff, and I'm not selling dope. Like I'm really got a job. Just want to stay fresh. Just trying to look like I'm just don't live in these apartments right here. You know what I'm saying? I got a car. You know what I'm saying? I'm living like I live in Buckhead.
Damn.
But I'm living in East Point, like I'm Hitler in the low. You know what I'm saying? So
Doing it.
yeah, but he was the one who was like, yo, this is just local. Dancing, this is local. We should take this world. I mean, he the one who wanted to start the group. I wanted to be an artist, and I believed in I love the fact that he believed in me enough that I felt like I could sell it. I felt like I can do it. So I started learning about music. I started like reading whatever you can learn, the little special events, whatever, Jack the Rapper, whatever's gonna come to town. I'm trying to do him right. Then he bumped into Ray at the studio we at Joseph Karn, Gene Karn.
Oh,
Doug.
Gene
Shut
Karn.
up,
Oh, yeah.
Aunt
Gene
Gene.
Doug Carter from
Cause
Atlanta?
no, they moved
Nah, they
here.
moved here, yeah.
They moved here. She live in Philly now, but
Yeah, her son, Joe Karn.
Damn, man, the
Oh
things you
wow,
learn.
that's my family. He like my cousin.
We
Yeah,
just
yeah.
we just
Really?
taught you something.
Yeah, Aunt Gene.
wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
We ain't
nah,
never
He
seen
said,
you
I'm
over
a
there.
student.
Huh?
We ain't never seen you over there.
Yeah, no, because I don't live here. I graduated from Clark. I didn't come back.
What year did you go to Clark?
90,
When you were 8 years old.
90. Oh, when I was 8, I went to 96 and 99.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Prime, right in the midst.
Doogie
of it.
Housette over here.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, but Joe had a little studio,
A nice little
a
built
nice
room.
little studio in his house,
Doug and Gene.
and he used to let me and Rico go there and work and stuff.
No, we used to pay for it.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
Oh,
Rico.
There wasn't no let.
Rico, it wasn't no let.
Right.
Rico
Pay
is
for
paid
it.
for it. My fault, bro. My fault. All right. So one day I'm in there working, and Joe tells me like, "Yo, I gotta run somewhere. You cool? You can stay here." He told me, said, "Yo, my boy Ray gonna come through here and grab something right quick. He won't be nothing but a minute, but you'll meet him, whatever." I said, "Okay, cool." So I'm in there. I'm confused because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. All of a sudden, I hear the door close. Look around now. It's Ray.
What was you working on?
Sonic.
Some U-boy stuff, right?
No, but what piece of equipment?
Oh, what's the
ASR10 or
What was the keyboard?
E-Sonic? What was it?
What was it?
In Sonic.
Yeah, Sonny. Okay. So Ray comes around the corner. He doesn't talk to me at all. All he does is grab his hand. I'm like, okay. So he goes in there and he gets to the keyboard, lowers his disc, do all this. Boom! And when he hit it, my mouth dropped because I'm like, how the fuck he just do? Wait a minute. This just sound like Public Enemy. Like, bro, how you make this sample go with that sample and all this? And then he look at me and walk out. And I'm looking at him.
So,
going
Ray,
around
you the
corner,
quiet
like,
storm of the three?
Boy.
Yeah, I'm looking at him like,
One of them.
Yo,
I'm amazed. So
Part of it.
automatic, as soon as I saw Reed, I said, Reed, bruh, I don't met some nigga named Ray. We got to have him. I said, he has to be a part of this, bro. You don't understand. He could teach. Like, he has to be a part because the way Ray taught me samples. I came from the funk era where I thought everything was live.
Played.
Right.
I swear to God, I thought everything was live.
Same.
Right?
Right.
So when I first started hearing like, all rap and everything, I thought in my mind with some stuff, it was original.
Right.
He came in there with a bag about this big with nothing but tapes. Ramsey Lewis, James Brown, Blackbird, just everybody. And
All the breaks.
started playing stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute. That's what you call, wait a minute, where you get that? He's like, Ray better talk.
Tip of the hat.
Well, it ain't that. It ain't that. I've been recording every time I go over somebody's house, you know what I mean? Because I was playing with these records when I was little.
Right.
I love music, so I record music, and I was a DJ way early. Like, you know what I mean? When Run DMC and them first came out, I was, one of my homeboys taught me how to DJ, so I was DJing, backspinning, sucker MC. So later on, I found out that through my DJ friends that a lot of the records, that's when we first found this, the Breakbeat collection.
Ultimate Beats and Breaks. Shout out to Breakbeat, Louis.
Lou.
Yeah,
Breakbeat Lou.
See, I didn't know, just like Sleepy, I didn't know everything was a sample at
Right.
first. I thought that these guys are incredible. These guys are making this music, da-da-da-da. So I learned how to program based on listening to shit and trying to reprogram it.
Right.
On Boss drum machines, on Elise's drum machines, on 909s, on 505, 707, you name them, I done did it. Wow. By the time I got to, then I started, when I found the sampling record, I said, oh, these motherfuckers, this shit.
Wikipedia. They just
Yeah, so
Right.
this is what I didn't figure out. This is what I didn't know. Did the compilation come out before the records were a hit
Right.
or after?
Probably after.
Okay, because in my mind, they came out before. So I was like, oh, well, then I just need to get the records before they motherfucking come out
Yeah.
and do it first.
Right.
So I started digging deep.
Wait, let me just do a quick 30-second tutorial. So basically,
Right.
For those that might not, the 2% of you that have been listening to us for 6 years, that don't know. So basically, we always say that in the folklore of breakbeatology, that basically Africa Bambaataa was the collector. Like Kool Herc was the system, Flash was the technique, and Bambaataa was the collector. And of course, they would wipe the labels away off the record, so you couldn't Shazam your way into what's he spinning? What's he spinning? Right. And eventually, our homeboy Breakbeat Lou decided to just make a cheat sheet. We could say the Wikipedia of it, or we could say Cliff Notes of all the essential breakbeats, like the basic 4 food groups of the meat and potatoes of breakbeatology of what they were spinning in the 70s. And
Pete's President.
Yeah,
Babe Ruth.
Come 1985, 86, when you're listening to License to Ill and like early that period between like the Marley Marl, Rick Rubin period. And I too was disappointed. Like I really thought Jam Master Jay was doing them bells on like Peter Piper.
Man, thank you.
That's what I'm saying.
Dude, I thought the time was really doing 777.
Come on, man.
Come on, bro.
But
You speaking everything, man.
no, but it was
I
still,
did it work.
it still was amazing though that he took Bob James and he was mixing it with a drum drum pattern, and he was keeping it on beat for the breakdown part.
Right.
Still was amazing. It was just that you could possibly do it too if you worked at your craft.
Right.
But it wasn't gonna be by doing what they did. So it's now just a complete study session. How you said, let me see if I can reprogram the same beats with the same drums. Let me just get to the level I'm there. And then, like you said, we started digging, because one thing they taught you, they had to put the name of the artist and they had to put the year. Okay. So you start studying years.
If you're a student,
Years,
if
and
you're a
kinda-
student,
Because
you
you
start
can't-
studying years.
Years.
Yeah, that was me. So
Years, and kind of then you would know
Years.
once you get in
what
like
style.
the 80s, it's kind of like, that's what you like.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
kinda-
No,
It could be anything.
everything for
cut to
samples,
cut.
so it was kind
no,
But you know
What's
what?
your
no, it don't stop. Maybe.
It changed, but
I'm gonna tell you when it got whacked for me.
Okay.
When the fucking drum machine started going and cameo. When the cameo drum sound,
85.
when it
Word
just
up.
was like the sound though, because you got to understand, you're coming from a real snare, a snare amplified, a snare distorted into this fucking 80s. I don't know what the
plastic.
pop
It's kind of
sound
Prince's
was.
fault
the Lynn drum?
because
No, that
it's
was
kind of Prince's fault because just the loudness of his drums, like. It's funny you mention this because even for me, I realized. All right, so I'm studying the Isley Brothers. We might do a Ernie episode, and when it came down to their ballads, I was like, "Yo, why doesn't Ernie Isley ever play the hi-hat? Like he'll just play the kick,
Right.
and he'll just do the basic
right.
fibers of it." And it just hit me that for a lot of '70s cats, drums are almost just simply a metronome, and everything sits on top of it. I mean, there's a few, James Brown,
Yeah,
George
yeah,
Clinton,
yeah.
whatever. But when Prince came along, the loudness of those hand claps.
Yeah.
By the way, I mean most people know this because they read the Dilla book. Those Lindrum hand claps, that's Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Didn't know.
Didn't know that.
So yeah, when Roger Lynn was sampling,
You know what? I
hand
knew.
claps.
I did know it. I didn't know that, but I knew from Jimmy Iovine. We've talked about it because he had.
Yeah,
he was
no,
a
he
part-
was there to
he was
record
there
the
part-
sounds. Yes.
He was there recording the sounds,
Wow.
Quest, you crazy with it, bro.
and he was telling me.
No,
Yeah.
we're dweebs here, man.
Yeah.
So,
Damn, you killing that shit. But I'm gonna say this.
yeah.
Out of all the producers being in hip hop, the ones that I truly love and respect, I love Marley Marl. I love fucking Larry Smith.
Let's talk about
Absolutely,
it. Let's
absolutely.
Talk about
bro.
it.
Fucking
Yeah,
love
absolutely.
Tack Head.
Absolutely.
The band for Sugar Hill. The band for Sugar Hill, bro. Those
Doug
records
Wimbish,
sound,
Doug Wimbish and
bro, the most incredible mixed sounding records ever.
you're right.
Yeah, Larry Smith, he really brought like a R&B kind of
Yeah.
sensibility to hip hop, but it was still hip hop, and the
Yes,
records
sir.
sound really big. I mean, you listen to like Friends or like
Everything.
Man,
It's now it's still
One Love.
Everything.
One Love, right?
Just crazy.
Everything. Go back to what's the name of his group that he was in?
Orange Crush.
Orange Crush.
Orange
Yeah,
Crush.
Come on.
Curtis
This
Blow.
guy knows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Of course he know, man.
I'm just
telling me stories about
all know.
Chris did a record with my daddy, folks. I'm still blown. I'm like,
That's what I'm saying.
Chris
That's what
did
I'm
a
saying.
record for you, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
crazy.
Welcome to
I
Questlove
was
Supreme.
trying to, the last question I asked Jay before, I seen him maybe like 4 months before. And the thing that always confused me was he would actually scratch the intro.
Yeah.
And the thing was, he would scratch it, or he would take that same break and scratch it for Rockbox.
Yep.
But in my mind, I was like, wait a minute. I know you guys are using a DMX rhythm machine. So how did you scratch that without like did you just make a 13-second intro and send it to the factory for you to scratch it? And then he told me that initially for Sucker MCs, Runnin' Jay wanted to rhyme to Action
Right.
by Orange Crush.
There you go.
With that intro.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's why.
So what they wound up doing, I think he said that the engineer did a distortion trick and just turned up the compression so much. Like when you really you could weigh in on this, right? Like
Yeah, shout out to engineers who are the secret sauce of everything that's ever happened in music.
Steve's our engineer. Like Steve is co-engineered every classic, like from Voodoo to just whatever, like all these classic records. But yeah, I always wanted to know how Jay was able to scratch, and he's basically scratching Orange Crush's Action intro, but they compressed it so much that it sounds like the drum machine that they eventually programmed on the D.
That's crazy.
So yeah, that just
Man, let me know when you
Sorry,
giving a
like,
class.
No,
Quest,
I understood everything. I'm just mind blown because I did understand it.
Quest, you gotta let me know when you have a class somewhere, bro. Hip hop class.
I used to teach at NYU.
Yeah.
I couldn't
go there,
Made me
but-
quit NYU.
They ain't gonna let me in now.
What I'm just saying. Nah, man, no. Literally, I stopped NYU to just do the podcast.
Nice.
Wow.
So, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
You guys said when you were originally starting to dig, and because they were wiping the labels, or they had to list the.
Well,
You
that's
said
what he
that
said.
Initially in the
Right.
old days, yeah.
But you said they would only list the artist and the year, so you were shopping or digging by year. What about by label?
Well, no, I'm sorry.
Right.
They listed everything.
Okay.
We was just looking at the fact that those were the key points. They listed the whole title, the publishers, the writers. They listed everything, but we would look for the years 'cause first, just so we could go.
Would you stop at 79? Maybe 81?
You know what I'm saying? No, I get to 80, about 80, 82.
It depends on the cover to
stop at
me too.
79.
Because I'm still a color. I still like the pictures.
The cover,
I like the
right.
pictures too. I like the pictures.
Yeah.
But the years can help me trust it because I was into folk as well. Because you can get some
That's
hard.
where it's at.
You can get some hard drums and some pretty riffs
Right.
or whatever. And then just the jazz you had to listen to, even though you didn't want to. You had to because you would have missed the whole phase of hip hop.
Yep.
It was like. Because I was thinking earlier when we was talking about it, what's the group? Golly, I'm messing up by not remembering this group.
Mandrill.
No, I'm not thinking the 7. I'm thinking the 90s group that came out with do 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 do.
Farside.
Farside. Oh yeah.
When they dropped that,
Yeah.
like, and you realize what came from
Right.
Weather Report.
Yes,
Jimi Hendrix,
and when the Tribe Called Quest did something, they had that was it Minnie Riperton? It was something.
Inside My Love.
But
Lyrics to go. Lyrics to go.
But once you start loving it for that, it didn't matter if you found something first. You was like, oh God, they killed
What
that.
they did with it.
They
Yeah.
killed that. I like how they. You know what I mean, so
Couldn't
it's
do
also about that too. Like to be.
So was that inspiration for mainstream?
Man, listen.
You know what?
I hate y'all for that shit, man.
You know what? That's just that man.
I'm so
up,
mad,
you know
man.
what I'm saying?
No, you gotta.
I'm gonna tell you. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you got to really appreciate that because we dug so deep, because we appreciated all of these changes in production style, how it went from a pure James Brown vibe to incorporating melodies and drums and then getting away from them being combined.
Two dope boys.
No, it just hit me
boy,
right
damn.
now. Dude,
Damn.
the drums from mainstream,
Okay.
same drums from Fall in Love.
Yes, indeed. Yep.
Fuck!
Slum Village?
Yes, even now, I'm like, even now.
You
it's just
tell
hit
me.
as
You
a-
tell me now. Let me hear what you say. Why you say that?
No. It's literally the same break.
Your face is kind of saying some things.
Oh, no, I'm not
No.
trying to snitch. No.
It's
I'm
not,
just
it's
saying.
not about snitching. See,
'Cause you did
this is
something
the
different with
assumption.
this.
This is the assumption is that everything is as it was,
Okay.
meaning
I'm
that it's
assuming
Yoda.
that it's
meaning
the same
that it's
break 'cause
lifted as a loop.
Well, I'm sure you chopped
But
it.
what
But
you
it
do?
may have been just sounds programmed
Programmed
in such
in
order with advanced. I mean, you got to remember now. This is what you
Yoda,
got.
Yoda.
Wait, let me explain something. Let me explain something to you.
I love it.
Larry Smith is his foundation of production is partly because he's in the band, but also because of the technology he's using, SSLs, right?
Okay.
We started. When we got to the music industry, they left us in the room with SSLs.
Yeah.
So this is where we learned how to make a
We got
snare
LA and
be hi-hat
Babyface old equipment.
and how a hat could be a snare.
Okay, we
See what
We
I'm
started
saying?
off on reels.
yeah, we
So
started out with LA
the
and
synthesis is what you got to really appreciate, not necessarily the copying. You feel me?
Okay.
The ability to be able to make something be something else.
Babyface.
Yoda.
And I'm gonna get into the part because to be honest, you could be right. I'm not sure.
So
but,
wait.
but I do know.
You're just wait.
but,
Only
but I-
because I'm such a stickler for reverb sounds.
Okay.
I assumed that you guys used Iron Butterfly Soldier in Our Town for the drums,
Drop it. Let me hear it.
but I can't speed it up. But
You right. You right. You might be close.
that might be it. But the key to it though,
You might be close.
The key to it though
That's what I said.
is yes, the program, because to make stuff out tempo or whatever, we might take drums and then reprogram the same loop, but end up touching other sounds that might change the hi hat or change this part.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna accessorize your drums,
if it makes
of
it
course.
better.
Yeah.
But the greatness or whatever, I'm impressed with, like you, Raphael Sadiq, and a lot of other people when they talk about mainstream. I love it because it's creative people, the fact that y'all love that, and the fact that it wasn't orthodox.
Absolutely.
It wasn't. It was. I was.
Buster
it-
really love that record.
can I ask, is Deborah playing bass on that?
No.
No, no, no.
Okay.
and then the thing is, I think we had that little red keyboard. What's that?
Yes.
That was the magic box.
And
on
not
that
in
one.
Sonic. Nordly.
Nord League, the
Yeah,
league.
we had,
Yeah.
and we discovered that little sound. We just let that sound go. But the main thing is that I think it was also.
It was the rhythm of that record.
Yeah, and that's what I'm about to get to without telling too much. Was that it was like, cause cell therapy. You know how we got that bounce before the bounce come in. We got like a quarter, like dun 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 dun. So it's like we have a half a rip. So like it's like a 6-bar loop, like rolling.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, like the way we cut it off. Mainstream was that with a straight beat.
You're right.
It was giving you it was flipping it to a different part, but I couldn't figure out how to do that weird beat to that at that point in my career. So I had to go easy.
Now, what we know as the Dungeon Studios,
Yes.
before you guys get a budget, before LA and whatnot, like I'm certain that you guys are creating a workspace in some sort of environment, or
Yes.
you called it the dungeon. What is the equipment there, and who's there? I mean, because just based on the videos, I'm assuming that it's almost like the Southern Wu-Tang, where it's like 12 of y'all just like.
The dungeon was my mother's basement, unfinished basement, the wooden steps, go down the steps. Ray was Yoda. He is the cook up. He wake up and get on the drum machine. And it was an MPC. From the time an MPC came out, we had one before we even moved over there. Like from the very first MPC, we had one or whatever. So, and the problem was it was an unfinished basement, so it was dusty. So I used to load the 3.5 floppy.
The floppy.
Yes.
Yeah,
floppy
yeah.
disk. So sometimes we would have to be concerned
Stop, Steve.
about losing things. As soon as you,
This is why Steve's making fun of me.
I
No,
know.
D'Angelo's. That's why we laugh when we hear floppy disk. He's
Right.
still using them shits.
D'Angelo
Oh, my
still
God.
is still 1997 with him, and he doesn't want to move. No, but it's
it's-
almost a good.
it's a good sound though. It's an analog texture. I mean,
Yeah.
it's something you do for a sound or whatever, like the SB12.
Yes.
Like that's what I'm saying. The other drum machine that we didn't mess with that much because the pass was stick.
Yeah.
And once we figured out, we MIDI that to the MPC and program it from the MPC, but get
But still get the texture
get
from
those
the
Lil
SP.
Lil John 808s.
So you would
I already-
filter the SB12 and then just MIDI it through the.
Yeah, programming the SB12. I mean, like get your samples edited in the SB12.
Right.
Then
And it's like,
Since literally every SB12, the buttons get stuck so you can't really program. So we just made it a MIDI. Once we learned MIDI for real, we're like, oh, I can control this drum machine with this drum machine, or whatever, because it had MIDI. So once we started doing that, like Waterfalls had the SB12 on it. Ludacris Saturdays used SB12, and I promise you, that was the sound that was like the bass music. It was like Andre 3000 on Bombs Over Baghdad, all that. Brr, brr, brr. That's SB bomb. That's that SB12 type of vibe. So we had an SB12 down there. We had an MPC down there, and you couldn't really record. We had a 6-track so you can hear stuff. He had 2 big house speakers down there or whatever, and most of the time it was about writing, because you had the steps, so people would sit on the steps. You have Big Boy Dre, you have Cujo, you have Big Rube. Big Rube usually be closer to Ray. Because
on your basement, on your steps, on them wood steps.
The wood steps, you would see them down the steps, but it was almost like going down to Ray on the drum machine, and it was already known you not really talking to Ray, and all you can do is appreciate this music box.
So they're all writing.
They all write.
And the person that finishes first, they own that song.
No, they all writing. Then he changed it. Whenever he finished what he's doing for that sequence, he changed the beat, and everybody turn the page and try to remember it. When you go back to the demo, I gotta get back on it. Or you'll keep writing over a new beat. So now your styles are changing, because now you were just writing with a certain thought process. Now that thought process has been enhanced by the beat changing.
Thought process.
Man, listen.
No. I'm just saying. They asked me about the dungeon, how it was originally down.
It's
there.
like the plant-based version of Drink Champs right now.
Yeah.
The plant-based version.
It also reminded me of like Wu-Tang, like when you watch the Wu-Tang Saga.
Yeah.
Right,
So that, and then digging in the crazy fact that Ray would start so early. Some people you would get a chance just the knowledge of like you'll hear it, he'll sample it. Now he chopping it up. Now he messing it up. Now he fit a program something to it. But he might sample 5 or 6 things before he start programming. Or when I go down there later, or when Sleepy get on there, he already done packed the drum machine up with so many different things that some of them he started on, some of them he didn't. So it's like sometimes you might be like, hey, get that, Ray. Get that for me. You know what I'm saying? Like grab that. Like Sleepy does it all the time. Like
You gotta call it.
yeah,
Call
like,
it deal.
Yeah.
because he has his own sound. That's what's cold about Sleepy. Like most artists get confused around Ray because he gonna go from waterfalls to cell therapy. We diverse. So the fact that he might be digging on some crazy, all of a sudden he might go into something that's, in my mind, I'm the business person sitting there like, that's not for you. That's gonna be for En Vogue.
So you'll determine.
Well, I don't.
You're the traffic cop.
Yes, but I don't determine it. Like I don't say it in front of nobody. I said
In your mouth,
to
Ray.
him like, hey, we can use that for En Vogue.
Yeah, we trust each other's judgment.
We trust each other. Like well, I'm not gonna tell the artist that because the En Vogue song was Cool Breeze song. Cool Breeze was killing it.
Cool Breeze. The coolest
Cool
song.
Breeze.
Cool Breeze.
That's my.
But it was only the it wasn't the full live drum thing. It was on that little.
It wasn't even live drums.
It was only that.
It was a beat. Ray had a beat on it, and it was that like you said. It was that. Cool Breeze was writing to that.
Reek took it. And
Hold on and don't let go. That's the song we talking about.
What's it
Will
called?
not be.
Yeah.
'Cause
But when it got beautiful, I think we called Lil Jon.
Lil Jon, yeah.
We
he
called Lil
told me.
Jon. We called Lil Jon in.
I happen to be.
We called Lil Jon in for that.
So the night that he tracked that, I believe we were at the Tabernacle because he told me.
Oh, the Tabernacle.
Right, because when I saw Lil Jon
Sorry.
later that night, he told me that he just did it like 2 days before or whatever, and so that's how. I think does the Tabernacle not exist
No, I just
anymore?
no. I just gotta
Oh,
go.
it's
It's a
still here.
time.
And,
right?
wait, and I'm also glad you told this story because I always felt like you were secretly judging me, like you and James, and kiss my ass, James Poison.
All the time.
I feel like I wanted to explain to you because the way we work, you notice that I use my computer, but I always put it through that SB 1200 I got, and I never use that SB 1200. Yes, the reason is there's a new version of there's a new kitted out version of SB. I got it. It has great texture, but I haven't learned to really freak it yet. So I still do my shit on my computer, but I like the texture of how samples go through.
They should just have an SP12 plugin.
And they kind of got one
like
with
just
MPC, but you just don't believe it. You just, you know what I'm saying? You don't believe.
It's not.
Some things you just want to like that 808. Like what I'm willing to do is to try to sample the sounds digitally again, but the quality. I got to be honest. Lil Jon, how his sound really changed America. Like that clean 808.
The DJ?
Yeah, which we talking about Roberts or the okay.
The DJ,
Yeah,
the DJ, yeah. I mean,
And
like,
I once thought that Lil Jon Roberts was Lil Jon. It's like, yo, he's really revolutionary. Because the thing was, I knew DJ Drama back when he was Backpack.
Dramatic.
Dramatic. And when Tariq trying
Dramatic.
to convince me that this guy Gangster Grills is dramatic.
That's what
was
I
like,
said too.
Like, get the fuck out of here.
Like, that's not Tyrese.
Until I seen him, I was like, holy shit, you really did change.
Right?
Like, so I did at one point, I did think that Lil Jon Roberts was revolutionizing dance culture in Atlanta, and then I realized there was two of them. So
What kind of MPC was it? I mean, what
60?
oh, wow.
All
first
of
one-
them. The first,
for which
the
song?
first one, yes, we.
I mean, for your
Your weapon of
original
choice.
original studio.
The original studio downstairs, it was the
MPC
big, the
60.
clunky one.
Six.
The first
one
one.
that was
The
like-
first
the very
one,
first
the
one.
clunky one, yeah, the big
Yeah,
one.
we started on the first one and then graduated with
Do
each
you-
one.
Do you feel like there's a different sound between the
Yeah.
different models?
They are like, okay.
now some people swear about the
2000,
3000.
the 2000 was the second one, right?
No,
It was
No, the
3000.
3000 was second.
Well, that's the
That was the one.
No, the
No,
3000, the
no.
3000 was the one that they started using
Well,
the
or
effects.
NBC2.
The little effects. The 3000 the one they start using the effects.
Right.
They start using the little where they could like you can make a sample, you can hide a sample.
That's Dilla shit.
They
3000.
They started doing that. The 2000 was the bounce box. Where anything you did was bouncing or whatever. So it does
was
have
my
different. It does all of them have a different sound.
What gives it the bounce? The quantizing?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
Yes. Good job.
Well,
But
to
but
be
but it's
specific to the drum machines, when they changed them around, they kept putting the fucking the tap button on different fucking sides. So if you started on the first one, you tap with your left or whatever, and if you started on the other one, you tap with your right. So it made people be biased to the drum machine.
Yeah.
I
I'm
like this
left-handed.
one. I
Yes,
don't like
you're
that
right.
one. And
It
that,
seems like the 3000 is like the one, right?
3000 is the one if you're Dilla. Now, and the thing is that Roger Lynn didn't. It has his name, but Roger Lynn had nothing to do with the 2000.
Yeah.
It's almost like the Yeezy Adidas
Yeah.
situation
Right.
where they have a name, but that sort of thing. So, really, the last thing that he did the MPC 60, the MPC 62, and then he did the 3000, and then MPC 60 came and like, here's a boot, and my sucker ass fell for the 2000 because it's for left-handed. So, okay, so I got to get to you. I didn't even start with the
yeah,
discography.
I know.
Let's start.
All right, rapid
Rapid
fire.
fire time?
All right, it's rapid fire. Okay.
Socks and
Listen.
drawers.
Witchdoctor or SWAT healing ritual?
okay.
Oh, you going that
is
far?
my- Look, man, we ain't got time, man.
All right, fuck
Fonte
that,
been
guys.
ready.
All
You
right,
know
next.
Fonte been ready.
Bro,
He been
we
ready.
just got to look, man. That probably to me, that and Cool Breeze album, like Ghetto Camel, bro.
Okay.
Those records, I've heard parts of the story. What happened with those two records in the Interscope deal, and like what was that? situation?
Interscope situation was a good deal, but it was just bigger than what we was used to, or whatever. We had more power or whatever. So like, in the artists, you know what I'm saying? We by that time, we as a company, we weren't produce. We was a production company, but we were a label, and the artists had more responsibility or whatever. Like we was making your music, but we wouldn't holding your hand to make sure you went on your shows, to make sure you did
Did
this.
your in stores? and
Yes,
all
we
that
did
shit.
that with OutKast, but they were 17 years old, 18 years old. It was more about, do you even have a bank card?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to leave you out there. But by the time we got the Goodie Mob,
Y'all grown.
yes, and not to deflect, but I did. I've been wanting to say this to Quest, because how did you feel when you first met? Because the first tour Goodie Mob went on was with the Roots and with the Fugees.
Ooh, now that was already dramatic.
No, it wasn't, because we first met Goodie Mob. Like my first introduction to, I mean, besides seeing OutKast on TV, but in real life, we our very first trip to Atlanta, we went to this radio station, and
I remember that.
I wasn't there.
Or maybe okay. Then we're wrong.
Went to my first strip club.
In Atlanta.
Oh damn!
In Atlanta.
Yeah,
They have strip clubs here. It's okay. It's
No,
like
no.
the store.
I was doing a joke. Anyway, so I didn't go to the radio station that night, but I listened, and basically, all of Goodie Mob and the Roots like freestyled for 20 minutes. It was on YouTube for the longest. Like it was like a legendary moment. I just remember Reek coming back like, yo, there's even more of them. Because the thing is, yes, there was a lot of bias towards how we in the Northeast, yes, we're very snobby, very particular, very territorial about culture and whatnot. So yes, we tend to think that most of down south was just Luke and nothing else. Right. And so, you know, when we came down here, it's like, yo, they know how to rhyme their ass off and they got inflections and they like singing shit and da-da-da-da-da. So then I remember we did a show together. We did our first show with Goodie Mob at Clark, I believe. Like one of their spring flings. It was like the Far Side of the Roots and Goodie Mob. And it was like a love affair. But I was also there at the Source Awards which I dub it hip hop's funeral.
South got something to say.
And I was there for that whole thing, and it just, I don't know. It was for me the first where I really fell in love. The main ingredient joint. Shout out to Cosmic Kev. All right. Shout out to Cosmic Kev he always rode for the Players Ball remix. Now,
Yes.
I will be super, super transparent, honest. The original Players Ball, I remember when it came on BET, and it was, the jury was up in the air because we were like, all right, so here's my thing.
Come on,
say it. Come on.
man.
All right, what had happened was, no. Where I was, I was dirty, dungeon, hip hop has to be filthy, like the first Jungle Brothers record,
Right.
the first Wu-Tang record. And when the Chronic came out, I told you, and Dre laughs his ass off, I hated the Chronic for like 20 years because it just sounded too pristine.
Too clean.
It was like, I was like,
I
wait,
understand
I
that.
thought we were against this. I thought we didn't want to sound like afternoon radio. And
Afternoon radio.
to me, like, then suddenly hip hop just sounded clean and big and right. But I didn't come from like club culture where shit had to kick. I wanted this shit to sound like that.
You want dirty drums.
Right. And I was just like, I don't know, man. Like, it's too clean and da-da-da-da-da. And then I got in Cosmic Kev's car and he played the main ingredient remix version.
Plays by
And when them drums kicked in, like,
You
and
know
Kev-
what? Let me cut you off because you've been dropping these motherfucking gems. I
didn't know. Hey, I didn't know what he was talking about. Ray, I didn't know what he was talking about.
He was gonna get there.
That's
Ray,
common knowledge.
I'm thinking about the producer, main ingredient. I'm
I'm glad.
He did a remix.
Quest, I'm
just
glad
saying.
you said it, Quest. Ray wouldn't even tell me what it. I used to be like, man, where you get that
But
from?
still though.
I literally.
Oh, you told on Ray.
You
Well,
told
I
Ray.
think the
You
statute
told
of
Ray.
limitations
told
is
on
over.
him.
You don't be revealing.
No,
I
but
ain't
now,
Ray
Like
told Ray.
2/3
but
of
now
them
you
are
gotta
in the
play.
ground now.
But now you would have to play the piano version.
Cuba
'Cause we
Gooding
we
has his own problems.
We played the piano version. Like we did the sample, would have been cool.
Yeah.
But like we literally played it with the piano and had Sleepy come in singing.
Yeah.
We bodied it. See, you gotta say it. See, like it's cool. Yeah, that's what we did. But that ain't what we
That
did.
ain't what-
Well, wait, I thought it
Go
was
listen to it.
right. I'm
It's that, but it ain't that.
I grew up with Shame on the World as a record, so I instantly knew. So maybe.
And then guess what? Somebody else came behind us and did that.
and did that.
I was about to
Yeah,
say
that
that wasn't
was
your.
all the
Yeah, you didn't do the
youngsters.
Somebody
Yeah,
came right behind us and
Right,
did
mad
that.
props.
Did
Them
that.
K-
And they were like,
K-
"Ooh, this what they did. We gonna go
I
do
didn't know
that."
that.
And all they
That
did
was
was
a record.
all they
I
did
ain't
was
gonna
build
lie.
us up more.
I ain't gonna lie. When I heard that Youngsters record, I liked it because I liked the sample.
Yeah.
I actually liked the beat and the sample was real cool to me.
Oh damn!
Wait, which
Yeah, the
Youngsters
Mad Props
record?
joint.
Wait,
It was Mad
what?
Props. It was
Come on,
KW.
come on,
Oh,
come on.
I didn't know that.
Okay,
till
Reveal-
now.
okay.
reveal
Caught
it,
up.
reveal it.
No, I'm having a moment where I didn't even think of that shit. No. But when Cosmic Kev is like Philly's Funk Master Flex, and
That's hard. man.
when he used to have his like mixtapes out, like I'd be in the car, and when he put it on, the way them drums, it was like a hard version of Friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you good.
And I was just,
That was the plan, Ray? Was that the plan?
That was the plan. That's the plan.
Nice, Amir. You are so good at
That
this.
boy Quest is no
Listen,
joke.
Listen.
yeah, I mean it was a hard version of Friends. Like if I were drumming,
Organized.
Say it
The
again.
organized
Say it again.
version of
That's
Friends.
what you say.
Organized noise.
If I
if
were
I were
drumming,
drumming, Yeah, well, here's the thing. Like, I wasn't, even though I'm immersed in hip hop and all that shit, like, I'm still trying to figure out, hey, how can I recreate these breaks?
Yeah.
I would have been a perfect
that's
supplement
it.
to
Actually,
that shit. So when he did that, then that was my Kaiser Sosa coffee drop reveal moment of,
the wall.
Yeah.
yo,
Right.
we were rehearsing one day and the boy brought in the Easy issue was the source. We're like, all right, let's go. And I would like try to read the review before I see what the mics are. And I saw a half and I was like, wait, it's a lead review. They wouldn't do no 3.5 lead review. 2, 3.
Oh.
Yo, 4.5. Like, we stopped rehearsal and I immediately went to the record store like, yo, I got to get this shit. And
Hey man, so it's so monumental what you're saying now, because to even back that up, I remember when L.A. Reid, because it was important to him to call me in every Tuesday, every day, every once a week when the radio reports come out. He just wanted me. He was excited, but he knew it wasn't his. He was excited, but he knew this is y'all. This y'all need to be
He
excited.
said
about
that
it.
to
he
us.
said that
he
to
said
us,
that to
too.
us, yeah.
he was on the show
Probably
like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, a month ago, yeah.
Yeah, and he definitely said that even, like, he didn't know the world. Like, if it was TLC, he could instantly have say in
Hip
it.
hop, he didn't really know.
But with
Yeah,
y'all,
he
it was just
was
like,
tapped in like
whatever
that.
y'all say, I'll co-sign. Like,
Yeah,
that's
he
what-
just trusted us. That's why we
Absolutely,
love him.
but
He trusted
but he started felt like I owe you to teach you, and he was like, yo, if this market plays your record, it's probably gonna trigger these markets around it. So shout out to the Bay, cause that's who really jumped.
Yeah, that's who really
That's
showed
who,
love.
and that's I mean,
They
but
broke y'all?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Players ball.
Absolutely.
That make- and
they
that
played-
totally makes sense.
They played.
That makes sense
They
because
played
of
the
Souls of
original.
Mischief.
They played.
Absolutely.
Yes, they played the original one. They played the original one. Vegas, every other market, New York. I'm trying. When we at our peak, I'm looking at New York. I'm like, I said they still ain't added.
Come on, not the
everybody-
cool
we got 25,
kids.
30, and he just looked at me and said, "They just."
They going cool kids.
Yeah, he said they not really fucking with it. But I said that's all you had to say. We went and did. As soon as he let me know.
Soon as he said that.
As soon as he said they didn't like. I said they don't want to hear all that music shit. They want
Okay, cool.
Let's break it down. Let's just break it down. Let them hear
Cool.
it. We was already gold at that point. It was like we need to give a, and for you to tell me that Cosmic Cal, somebody who was a big influencer in the East Coast, because guess what? Everything turned around once we dropped that remix.
Wow.
Yep, sure
The
did.
whole East Coast lit up for love for OutKast.
Which is why I want to ask you guys. You had such a crazy momentum, especially with OutKast as your main Trojan horse, to literally change the narrative of how the world thought Southern hip hop was. This is what I gotta know. As a lead single, yes, a song being 80 BPMs in 2022, 2015, whatever, like we'll say the second half of the arts, between 2010 and 2020, is normal. But in 1996,
Elevator.
Right.
and the thing was, I asked even off campus, I grilled Dre and Big Boy about this. But since y'all create, how, like, that was such a risk. Y'all could have just played it safe and just kind of fit in.
What did it follow though?
No, but I can tell you this for a fact.
Meaning that what did we do before that?
What was the single?
Nah,
Well, I mean,
Elevate-
Waterfall.
Wait, say the music, how
What did
slow
we
it
do
was?
before that? What did we do before that, hip hop wise?
To me, it was Goodie
Oh.
Mob.
Okay.
Oh,
It was Soul Food.
So because they
It was so
broke the ground with pianos and this
she's
total
saying when you were in the
track,
lane with cell therapy.
it was easy for the cast
I'ma tell
to
you.
pick up
But
that
man,
baton
it was so-
and be different.
it was so
I promise
risky.
you. I promise you. There's
It was so
I
risky.
promise you.
That it was
There's
slow,
a
is
real
what you're
there's a
saying,
real
the
story
tempo?
behind that.
Give it to me.
We were too high.
The real story. No.
We were too fucking
No,
high.
no,
We slow
no, no.
every day.
Thank
No,
you,
Of
Sleepy.
course, the music
that-
is gonna slow down.
That was great. But that,
Oh yeah, we had to think about
Yes,
this.
this is the
Nah,
actual-
we
the
was
actual-
fucking high.
Let Rico talk.
this is the actual.
I believe that.
This is the
I
actual.
believe-
This is the actual bee's knees. This is what happened.
Okay.
Antonio Reid. At this point, we was in a contract negotiation. We were trying to bring our label. We wanted to be a label. We wanted OutKast to be signed to us.
Red Clay Records.
So if you look at the original versions of Elevators, it say Red Clay Records. We end up leaving, but so so we was in a little bit more control. Big and Dre, it's their first single they produced.
Right. They produced it.
They produced it.
They produced.
They produced
Right.
Elevate. So this first single,
Right.
they produced.
That's the
they
first
came.
single
They
they
came to me.
produced.
Big Boy came up with this incredible hook, and we produced it in the sense of we put Deborah on it. We made it
Yes.
sound like a big song. So they wanted to put it out. I looked at it as a setup record. It's just a little street. It's gonna be the street record.
Street single, yeah.
L.A. Reid them like, nah, you got to give me an up tempo. We got to maybe you got to do all the bases of the food group. You got to
Right.
come on. This is our first single. Come on, ATLiens. It's gonna
I'm
have
so
to be-
glad someone said it.
No,
because
it's,
I'm
it's
like,
a fact. It's a fact. ATLiens, throw your hands in the air. Like that's why I ended up being second. It was supposed to be. It was gonna be the one they was
that
gonna
was
go.
supposed to be the first
They was
single.
gonna come with that. They had their plan. They had their rollout plan. Same reason why.
But-
he wanted Miss Jackson to be the first single on the other album.
But-
But since we were in control, and in the spirit of hip hop,
Right.
like we New York now. We Atlanta.
Right.
I'm saying we powerful a little bit.
Let's
Fuck
try
it. We gonna leak it.
That's right.
Shit took off. Shit took off.
Let's go.
Shit took off beyond anybody's
Dog.
belief. So we leaked it.
I wonder how y'all leaked it back then. Did you leak it to a DJ?
Yes, we went straight
Okay.
to Greg Street.
to Greg Street?
That wasn't Greg
It wasn't
Street.
street.
It wasn't street yet. It was
Yeah.
it was actually mixed. It was probably people like 89.3. It was 91.
Oh, the college
It was
station.
the college stations. 'Cause back then we had been schooled in the fact that that's the only way hip hop is gonna be heard first. Mainstream radio wasn't an option. And it wasn't even an option. It wasn't something you thought was gonna happen. So at least we get it was just try to make a real hip hop community in Atlanta.
And you gotta.
OutKast was big enough to where, and it was a cool record. We didn't, and we did a remix where we probably took another one of those good breaks on there.
Parliament. Yeah, the Parliament joint.
That's the killed it. That killed it.
Ray, y'all making Ray mad.
Man, listen,
This is my thing.
This
This is
By
my
the way,
thing. How can Ray sit here
drums from One Love.
and not think?
He ain't Ray. Have you ever sat here and had somebody depict your shit like
You know
what
how
he
he
was
gonna
doing?
sit here and think
it's a lot
that
of-
Quest ain't gonna
No,
call
no.
spots out, bro?
No, it's not that. Listen,
I'm
I
not
come
calling
from a
you out.
culture-
No, I'm saying it's cool. I like this shit.
I'm literally on
already
a,
hits,
a
Ray. They already
producer's
hits.
thread of like just 30 dweebs who sit and
That's all we do.
just
Like,
sit
yeah.
and we
Nah,
do the
when I found So Fresh So Clean, I was like, get the fuck
Now
out.
that one
Nigga.
ain't true.
That's not a sample, bro.
I know it's
we
not
know
the same,
that.
what I'm
but
saying.
still, never mind. All right, we're gonna stop.
I never heard the record. We
Never.
never heard the record. This is
Yes,
just,
we
this
know.
is
Yeah,
this
get
is
it.
a
No,
this
it's
is
okay.
a.
I'm not saying no titles, bro.
all right.
I just want you to appreciate how the universe works.
Right.
Yes.
No,
When
no.
you
now,
tune into the frequency,
On that one, we really and truly didn't never like on
No, it's
everything else. I mean, on God,
On
we
God.
never like that was literally like us producing like by ear. I mean, like Sleepy. I had a Rhodes. Sleepy playing a melody. He playing a melody and me programming a beat that fitted the melody or whatever, and we actually created a breakbeat. Like we created a breakbeat, and then years later, somebody said, "Man, this is a jazz record that sounds just like So Fresh So Clean." And I said, "Did they redo our shit?" But shit came out in the '70s. I'm like, "Wow!" But it
Now let me say this. I never heard the record, but maybe it played when I was dreaming one night. Cause I swear to God, I went to Rico's house. I said, "Rick, I got this idea, man." He was like, "Well," I'm like, "Do." I'm like, and then look, I
Come
sat
on,
there.
man. See,
I sat there.
I'm just saying.
Look, I sat there, and then Rick came with the.
Isaac
Yeah,
got a couple
yeah.
like that.
but
Barry got a couple like that.
You know
That
what,
he
though?
didn't. That something sounds like
oh, dude, it happens
similar.
all the time. It literally happens all
Don't
the
give
time.
up.
Hey,
Where
you know what though?
subconsciously
You know what?
heard some 12
One thing you can say for a fact. There are 88 keys, and if
And they between
I gotta
those.
say, it felt good to his fingers, the movement. So that's why they played some. Could play it again. That sound like, but they ain't stay there though. It's like-
Fonte, it goes doom
I
doom
ain't,
doom.
I ain't got no comment. Ray, it don't sound nothing like that. It don't.
Mine's go do 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 do.
Yeah, Sleepy, it don't sound nothing like that.
And his
Yeah,
go
this.
do 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 do.
That's
do,
Vanilla
All
Ice.
right, we're not No. We're not even. We're not in that whole
Nah,
gotcha
it's
But wait,
journalism shit.
since we
bro,
still
it
in
is
St.
all
Cody,
good.
But we are scientists that just amazed at how shit it gets built.
Absolutely.
Look, that's like
But wait, let me just
Yeah.
say.
Archaeology.
I
can't wait what? Can't wait what?
I can't wait.
I know.
Can't wait.
I play. I can't wait.
And then
Can't
play
wait.
what?
Can't
That's
wait
a
came
sample.
from Lamont Dozier.
That's what they
That's
say.
a sample.
Now that was just an intro.
That's what they say. But
quick
listen to it
intro.
though. Listen to it. Listen to it right
The
now.
little string.
Listen to it.
Lamont Dozier.
But everything else.
Everything else is
Right.
Nah,
When you
it's like,
come in,
it's like
okay.
that's just to me.
This is
Whoever, if it's DJ Premier, if it's all the great ones. That's why Organized Noize is respected and is a part of this class of people. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah, you are.
you spend time, but now they've given the kids so much technology to where they got the notes on the board for them. They're showing, so the music sounds cleaner, but very musical. But people don't respect it as
But
much
it's not as creative.
because
some of
we
it.
had to do a lot more. We had to like speed things up a little, or slow it down to get it in tune.
Yeah, we had
Because
to
you
make
only
it
had a
sound.
little bit of sampling time. Like
Yeah,
the
it's
SP only had like 10 and a
We
half
had to make
seconds.
the
Can
sound.
I
You had to
ask,
speed it up to
how does your cousin feel about, like, does he look at you guys like, or you guys are like, oh, like, has Future ever asked, like,
Nah, man, Future.
do some shit on my record, or?
Yes, he
We
did.
did that.
He did that, and I hated it because I ain't hated it. I loved
Well,
it. I loved the thought of doing it, but the
yeah.
fact that like the fact that he wanted to do it because he wanted a song that sounded like back in the day, and that's cool. But we want a song that sounds like,
like
right
right
now.
now.
Yeah.
So let's evolve. Let's come together and do something that's not just some old sounding shit, but some new sounding shit with the familiarness.
Can y'all just do both?
Yeah, that's what we
what
want.
we-
Or whatever.
I would love to
And-
hear
Well,
and-
it would have
and-
happened anyway, right? I mean, you
Well,
are.
well,
Let me tell you
I got
what
a whole,
record I was.
I got a whole album on
Future
it anyway. But I want
Future
to
did that
Where
sound
the
like
fuck is it
Organized
at?
Noize.
I'm sorry, I got him rapping over everything. Future, man, I got Future, man. Future's it's
rapper
my
rapper?
cousin, and if I want,
Nah,
and if we
Future-
wanted to,
Future's dope.
yeah, Future's like if we wanted to, we could, but it's like with that's what's working for him or whatever is like. It's maybe not because the song he did a song with Andre 3000. He did a song with Andre 3000 rhyming on it, whatever, and it was dope. I just think that to be honest, it was just it was dope, but me and Ray had a version that we had kind of like made it a little more futuristic, and it was stupid. And they didn't want to use that one, so I've been mad since.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Fontigolo from Questlove Supreme. This interview was so meaningful for me, and I'm sure y'all could tell whether you listened along or watching this on YouTube. I was losing my mind and just geeking out the entire time. We're pausing this two-part discussion here for now, but please make sure you come back for part 2 for the Questlove Supreme's Atlanta sit-down with the gods, Organized Noize. We continue to speak about OutKast, learn one of the biggest R&B hits began as a beat for a Dungeon Family MC, and also did a deep dive into some of their best works. This was amazing. Check it out. QLS. Fontillo. Yeah.